Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Science Storytime with B. I'm B, and we're continuing with the theme of Build It. And I've been having so much fun that I might even bring this theme into next week, too. I have two really awesome stories that I'm going to read you today. We're going to read The True Story of Three Little Pigs and Let's Build a Clubhouse. And then I'm going to show you some really cool things that you can do with Play-Doh, skewers, and straws. So we'll do that last. So if you've got that around the house, maybe you can ask your grown-ups to help you collect all those materials. And if you're here and watching with me, excuse me. If you're here and watching with me, put in the comments where you're watching from so that I can see that you are here. All right. And if you're joining us on Instagram and you want to see the pictures, you can join us on facebook.com/BeTheScientist/live. Okay, let's get started. I think we should start with Let's Build a Clubhouse because the second book is a childhood favorite of mine and I always like to save the best for last. So let's start with this first book. That is equally as awesome. Okay. Here we go. Okay, our first book is called Let's Build a Clubhouse by Marilyn Singer, illustrated by Timothy Booth. To the Kirkpatrick clan, Katie, Julia, Billy, and clubhouse building expert Don. I've always wanted to make a clubhouse, so maybe this book will help me out. Oh, my sister is joining me from a rainy porch. I'm jealous. I wish I had a porch that I could be sitting out on. Okay, it looks like some of our book is cut off, so let me see if I can resize that for everyone. Sorry about that. Whoops. There we go. Okay, let's build a clubhouse. Let's build a clubhouse, a place where we can hide 8 feet long and 6 feet wide. Let's build a clubhouse with windows and shelves. Let's find the tools and make it ourselves. Who's got the plan? Daniel's got the plan. A plan is a picture of the shape and the scale of the building's details, so the builders won't fail. Before you can build a clubhouse, you need a drawing that shows the design and the measurements. You need a plan. So maybe after we're done reading, we can make a plan of our building with Play-Doh before we start. Who's got the ruler? Julia's got the ruler. With a ruler, you can measure a window or car. You can measure the ceiling. You can measure the floor. Rulers measure length, width, height, and depth. They are usually 6 or 12 inches long. Folding rulers are 6 feet long. Measuring tapes can unroll and stretch from 6 to 100 feet. Wow! So we're going to be using our rulers to make sure that our lines are straight and because I like to measure things. Who's got the saw? Lola's got the saw. A saw's sharp teeth are zip-zaw good at making 2 pieces out of just 1 piece of wood. I like the rhymes here. And then in the little corner it says, all handsaws have a handle and a metal blade with sharp teeth for cutting wood and other materials. Different sizes of teeth and different blades make different kinds of cuts. And when we're using any kinds of blades or really tools in general, we want to make sure that our grown-ups are with us to make sure that we don't get hurt. When I was in middle school, we had a shop class where we learned how to use a lot of these tools. And I actually still have a scar from this one right here called the coping saw. Yeah, it's on my finger, and I got really scared that I was going to get in trouble for getting hurt. But of course, my teacher wasn't mad. He just wanted to help me get all band-aided up. But we learn from our mistakes, don't we? Who's got the level? Kevin's got the level. Gotta check the level before the house is built. If the bubble's in the middle, then the walls won't tilt. And I have a level. I'll grab that after we're all done reading. It's a really cool tool, and you can even make one yourself using just a little bit of water in a container. A level is a metal, wood, or plastic case that has a tube with a bubble inside. Put the level on or against a floor or wall. If the bubble is right in the center of the tube, then the floor or wall is perfectly flat or straight. And I love the apartment that I live in, but I don't think the person who built it used a level because all my floors are a little bit tilted. Who's got the square? Claire's got the square. Take a carpenter's square when you have to create a line that's perfect for a cut that's straight. And a carpenter's square looks a lot like a ruler, but there's another ruler on the bottom and it makes an L shape. A carpenter's square is really a right angle, half a rectangle. It not only helps you draw a straight line, it can also tell you if the corners you've made are neat or crooked. Who's got the wrench? Billy's got the wrench. A wrench can tighten every bolt and nut to make a sturdy floor from the boards that you cut. Every builder needs wrenches to hold together and tighten nuts and bolts. Some wrenches have open ends, like jaws. Others have a box or a closed end, and some wrenches have both. The wrench that I have at home looks like this, an adjustable wrench. And I got furniture from IKEA a long time ago, and it came with this one, the open-ended wrench. Who's got the hammer? Sam's got the hammer. Take a hammer, take a nail, and then you pound. Join those two pieces of wood with a wham bam sound. There are many kinds of hammers. The kind you'd use to build a clubhouse has a head that's flat at one end to pound in the nail and clawed at the other end to pull the nails out, just in case you make a mistake. And this shows 3 different types of hammers. We've got a magnetic hammer, which I'm going to guess is magnetic. We've got the ball peen hammer, and we've got the mallet. And the mallet is really just a big blunt object that you can hit things with, and usually made out of rubber. I use mallets a lot in my old job. Who's got the drill? Lily's got the drill. A whiz-biz drill has just one goal: never quit till the bit makes the right size hole. Before you use a screw, you first have to make a hole in the wood with a drill. The drill uses a twisted tip called a bit to bore the opening. The bigger the bit, the bigger the hole. Hey, who's got the screws? Oh, Zach has the screws. With a good screwdriver, twist each screw through the hinge in the door, because a nail won't do. And this is what you'll use for like softer woods that you can use with your hands and you can screw it in. But if your wall is too hard, that's when you're going to need that drill. And it shows us 2 different kinds of screwdrivers, although there are lots of different tops of it for lots of different types of screws. This one shows the Phillips head screwdriver, where the screws look like a cross on the top, and the slotted screwdriver, where the screws just look like a line. All screws have slots on the top. Some are single slots, others are cross slots. A screwdriver's tip must match the type and size of the slot so that it can turn the screw. Who's got the plane? Elena's got the plane. A plane shaves wood when it's just too thick. Try its scrape-shaped trick and your door won't stick. We're not talking about an airplane. They call it a plane, and they spell it the same way too. But really, it's got, what's the word? I'm having a brain buffering moment. I'll think about it in a little bit. But basically using the friction to sandpaper. Sandpaper is what I was trying to say. Sorry about that, everybody. So you can put sandpaper on the bottom of a plane, and that will help to get just a little tiny bit of the wood off. A plane is a sharp blade in a case of wood or metal. Push the plane carefully to shave off curls of wood. Keep checking to find out when the board or door fits right and is smooth to the touch. So I guess sandpaper is a little bit different, and you wouldn't want to use sandpaper if you have a lot of wood to get off. Who's got the brush? Tasha's got the brush. Dip the brush in the paint, slap the walls, and make a sign. That might be my favorite part of building, is the painting and decorating part. Now this clubhouse is yours and mine. We've built a clubhouse, a place where we can hide, 8 feet long and 6 feet wide, 6 feet wide and 7 feet tall. And we did it with teamwork, the best tool of all. Wow, that was a really nice story. I'm so glad that we got to read that one together. So now I want to bring you back to my childhood with a story of the 3 little pigs. Now, your grown-ups might have told you this story, or maybe you've heard it in school. This one is a little bit different, and it changes the perspective. That means who tells the story. You might notice, if you're looking at my storybook with me, that it looks like it's been drawn on. Remember, I'm using a free resource called the Internet Archive, where people can scan or take pictures of their books and upload them to this website so that people like us can read them. So it looks like maybe someone drew a little bit on the book, but that's okay. It just means that it was a very well-loved book. Okay, let's go ahead with the true story of the 3 little pigs. And oops, having trouble making adjustments today. I took a nap and woke up feeling way less rested, which is not really the goal. Okay, there we go. The True Story of the 3 Little Pigs by A. Wolf, as told by John Scieszka, illustrated by Lane Smith. Everybody knows the story of the 3 little pigs, or at least they think they do. But I'll let you in on a little secret. Nobody knows the real story because nobody has ever heard my side of the story. And you know what they say about every story? There's your side, there's my side, and there's the truth, somewhere in between. I have to bring this a little closer. The type is a little small. I'm the wolf, Alexander T. Wolf. You can call me Al. I don't know how this whole big bad wolf thing got started, but it is all wrong. Maybe it's because of our diet. Hey, it's not my fault wolves eat cute little animals like bunnies and sheeps and pigs. That's just the way we are. If cheeseburgers were cute, folks would probably think that you were big and bad too. But like I was saying, the whole big bad wolf thing is all wrong. The real story is about a sneeze and a cup of sugar. This is the real story. Way back in Once Upon a Time, I was making a birthday cake for my dear old friend Granny. I had a terrible sneezing cold, and then I ran out of sugar. So I walked down the street to ask my neighbor for a cup of sugar. Now, this neighbor was a pig, and he wasn't too bright either. He had built his whole house out of straw. Can you believe it? I mean, who in his right mind would build a house of straw? So, of course, the minute I knocked on the door, it fell right in. I didn't want to just walk into someone else's house, so I called, little pig, are you in?" No answer. I was just about to go home without the cup of sugar for my dear old Granny's birthday cake. That's when my nose started to itch. I felt a sneeze coming on. Well, I huffed and I snuffed and I sneezed a great sneeze. And you know what? The whole straw house fell down. And right in the middle of the pile of straws was the first little pig, dead as a doornail. He had been home the whole time. It seemed like a shame to leave a perfectly good ham dinner lying there in the straw, so I ate it up. Think of it as a cheeseburger, just lying there. And just as a reminder, this is just a make-pretend story. It's a little scary, but it's kind of silly. I was feeling a little bit better, but I still didn't have my cup of sugar, so I went to the next door neighbor's house. This neighbor was the first little pig's brother. He was a little smarter, but not much. He had built his house of sticks. I rang the bell on the stick house. Nobody answered. I called, Mr. Pig, are you in? And he yelled back, Go away, wolf, you can't come in. I'm shaving the hairs on my chinny chin chin. I had just grabbed the doorknob when I felt another sneeze coming on, and I huffed, and I snuffed, and I tried to cover my mouth, but I sneezed a great big sneeze. And you're not going to believe this, but this guy's house fell down just like his brother's. And when the dust cleared, there was the second little pig, dead as a doornail, Wolf's honor. Now, you know that food will spoil if you just leave it out in the open, so I did the only thing that there was to do. I had dinner. Again. Think of it as a second helping. I was getting awfully full, but my cold was feeling a little bit better, and I still didn't have that cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake, so I went to the next house. This guy was the first and second little pig's brother. He must have been the brains of the family because he built his house out of bricks. I knocked on the brick house. No answer. I called, Mr. Pig, are you in? And do you know what that rude little porker answered? Get out of here! Don't bother me again! Talk about impolite! He probably had a whole sack full of sugar, and he wouldn't even give me one little cup. For my dear old, sweet old granny's birthday cake. What a pig! I was just about to go home and maybe make a nice birthday card instead of a cake when I felt my cold coming on. I huffed and I snuffed and I sneezed once again. Then the third little pig yelled, And your old granny can sit on a pin! Hey, that's not nice. Now, I'm usually a pretty calm fellow, but when someone talks about my granny like that, I go a little crazy. When the cops drove up, of course, I was trying to break down this pig's door. And the whole time I was huffing and puffing and sneezing and just making a real scene. The rest, as they say, is history. And there's a newspaper that says, Big Bad Wolf! Wolf'll huff and I'll puff. The news reporters found out about the two pigs I had for dinner. They figured a sick guy going to borrow a cup of sugar didn't sound very exciting, so of course they jazzed up the story with all of that huff and puff and blow your house down, and they made me the Big Bad Wolf. That's it. The real story. I was framed. But maybe you could lend me a cup of sugar. The end. Wow, that that was kind of silly, a little scarier than I remember it, but a lot of fun. So that story talked about different building materials, and our first story talked about different tools that we use to build those materials. So for our experiment or engineering challenge today, I thought that we could try and build some structures using some Play-Doh or modeling clay, some straws. You can also use toothpicks or skewers. And of course, just for good measure, I always like to add in some googly eyes. So first I wanted to go get my level. And that level is the tool that you use to see if things are straight. And it has a bubble in it. It's kind of one of the more interesting tools in my toolbox. This is what it looks like. And you can see that there's an air bubble inside of that liquid. So whenever you put it down, it'll show you how even that object is. Okay, so let's see if I can get a good angle on this without chopping my head off. There we go. Now, there's a really cool way that you can use Play-Doh and straws to make something really big, and you don't even need a lot of Play-Doh to do it. And I'll post again the recipe to make your own Play-Doh if you don't have any at home. So let's see, I'm going to start with some pink and purple and just take a few straws out. I had a package of straws from another experiment that I tried a while ago at my old work. So what I did is I cut them in half. Now, one of the halves is going to have this bendy part on it, but the other half is going to be straight. And we can use both of these parts to our advantage. So the first thing that we want to do is get our Play-Doh out, and we want to build some spheres or circles. So you might know how to do that. We'll take it in our hands and we just roll it around in a circle just like this. There we go. So we've got one of these. Then to start our structure, we take one of our sticks or skewers, whatever we got, and we'll stick it in just like this. So this is the very first part. Now we can continue to add to that. So we'll make more circles, or more spheres rather, to connect. So I'll put one on the other end like this. And now the cool part is that we can add more straws in other directions to make all different types of shapes. So I'm going to see if I can make a pyramid. A pyramid is a three-dimensional triangle. Now, when you're making these, you want to make sure that the balls aren't too small. Otherwise, you won't have room to stick your skewers or straws into. Okay, so here is my triangle. Let me just take a few things off my tray here. And now I want to add another dimension. Right now it's just flat. So I'm going to keep that first dimension in pink, and we're going to add the other ones with purple. Ooh, there's nothing like fresh Play-Doh. This was one of the last things I bought before the pandemic because I knew that I'd be spending a lot of time building things with all of you. So now I'm going to add a straw here at the bottom and another straw here at the bottom, and I'm going to make another triangle that's laying flat down. Let's see if I can make sure that Instagram can see this as well. Okay, so now I'm going to use my purple like this, and then in order to connect this and make our triangle, I just need one more flat straw without a bend in it. Let's see here. There we go. I'm going to stick it right in the purple and then stick it in the pink one. So now I've got a three-dimensional pyramid. So you can use these sticks and Play-Doh to make any kinds of shapes. You can even make it to make your build it to make your own clubhouse, just like our first book. And let's see, I'm going to put my level down and we'll see how straight my floor is. I always laugh a little bit when I use this level in this apartment because it is kind of silly. Yeah, so on the level, I'll draw a picture on the whiteboard so you can see what it looks like up close. But if this is the liquid, there's two lines on it, just like that. Okay, so I think Facebook can see it, and let me just turn Instagram so you can see it too. There we go. So it looks a little bit like this, but much straighter. So this is the yellow part, and then the whole thing is like this. So then, inside of that is our liquid. And it looks like the liquid is a little bit thicker than just water. So maybe it might be some sort of oil. But they trapped a little air bubble in there. So as we move it, the bubble moves too. There's also one on the top so that you can measure things that go long ways too if you don't have a surface to lay it down on. So ideally, we want the bubble to be right here in the middle. This is where the bubble should be when we're building things to make sure they're flat. But I'll show you where my bubble is whenever I put it down on the floor in my apartment. My bubble is this green one. It's very much off center. And that explains why when I was trying to build my marble run on Wednesday, I kept having to chase after all of my marbles all over my apartment. So I want to see what you end up making. I want to see pictures from your marble run on Wednesday, and I also want to see how your 3D shapes came out. You can make a 3D square. That's a cube. You can make a 3D rectangle. That is a rectangular prism. You can even make a like a longer version. Whoops, just fell apart. You can even make a longer version of the triangle, and it can kind of be like a light prism. And then I can't forget about my little googly eyes. I always think that they just make things a little more fun. So let me just reconnect this, like so. And then I can just pop on one of the googly eyes, and now I have an all-seeing pyramid. Pretty cool, right? So after you're done this, if you want to keep building up, you can trace paper that's the same shape as the faces, and then you can make walls. You can also use other tools like you can use tape, you can even use like blocks if you have blocks at home to build things totally up. I really like to build things. It's a lot of fun, and who doesn't love Play-Doh? So that's the end of today's stream. I think we're going to continue Build It Week into next week. We'll talk more about architecture or the art of building things, and we'll do more really fun building challenges. So thank you everyone so much for joining me. Oh my goodness, I see that one of my old co-teachers and best bosses, Fern, just checked in. Hey Fern, thank you so much for watching. We taught preschool together. It was really fun. Oh yes. So if you enjoyed today's stream, you learn something new, or you got a really great idea to build something later, feel free to donate to my Venmo or my PayPal. It is not expected, but it is appreciated for this laid off educator. I want to do as much as I can to help you keep your quarantine interesting. And because I'm here by myself, I want to see what you are all doing too. And now, without further ado, let's sing our goodbye song. So long, farewell to you, my friends. Goodbye for now, until we meet again. So long, farewell to you, my friends. Goodbye for now, until we meet again. It's been great to play and read together in the hive, but now it's time to say goodbye. So long, farewell to you, my friends. Goodbye for now, until we meet again. Bye, everybody. See you Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So long.